Have you ever stood beneath a restless sky, watching the clouds twist into shapes that feel older than time? Some say the heavens are a canvas, painted fresh each day. Others believe the skies are alive, whispering stories carried on the wind. Tonight, we follow one of those whispers, a tale as ancient as Olympus itself. Long before maps charted the earth, mortals looked upward for answers. In storms and in sunlight, they saw messages written across the firmament. At the heart of these visions was a throne shining high above the clouds, not carved by human hands, nor bound by earth, but born of the sky itself. It shimmered with light, resting in the care of Zeus, guardian of balance. This throne was never only a chair of power, it was a beacon. It reminded mortals that chaos could be woven into harmony. That thunder itself might be a song, not a warning. So let us climb together, step by step, through clouds and starlight. The winds rise around us, carrying us toward the Skyborn Throne. And in the distance, Olympus calls our names. Close your eyes and imagine standing on a hilltop at dawn. The air is cool, the world is quiet, and the sky waits to be painted. Sunlight stretches across the horizon, lighting the edges of the clouds. They glow like silver and gold, like fragments of a forgotten dream. If you listen closely, you may hear something hidden in the silence. A murmur, a sigh, a soft voice drifting through the sky. This is where the story begins, in whispers carried by clouds. Long ago, mortals believed clouds were more than passing shapes. They were messengers, storytellers, and keepers of memory. A shepherd lying on the grass might see a crown in the sky. A sailor might glimpse a glowing throne within the storm. Villagers would gather by firelight and say, "The sky is speaking." The whispers were different for everyone who listened. For some, clouds brought warnings of storms. For others, they revealed hidden wonders and visions of gods. But always there was one mystery, a throne above the world. The clouds did not shout, nor demand. They invited, softly, patiently, gently. Those who listened believed in something greater than sight. Imagine a child standing barefoot in a meadow, staring upward. The clouds drift slowly, revealing a chair of light and air. It towers like a beacon, glowing as though carved from the Sunday. The child feels a longing awaken deep in their heart, a yearning to climb, to rise, to follow the voice above. Elders too spoke of these visions and their meaning. They said the whispers were for all who paused to listen. The clouds became a bridge between mortals and the divine. But what were these whispers, truly? Songs of the wind, laughter of hidden gods, or the sky itself alive? Some claimed it was Zeus, sending gentle reminders from Olympus, not with thunder or lightning, but with drifting clouds, as if to say, "I am here, I guide, I watch." Generations passed, yet the whispers never faded. Farmers heard them in the fields as they worked the soil. Travelers heard them in lonely deserts stretching endlessly. Poets heard them most of all, weaving verses of a shining throne. A throne no mortal could touch, yet all could feel in the soul. Perhaps you have felt it too. A sudden stillness, a shape too perfect to be chance, a shiver through your heart, telling you there is always more. The whispers did not answer every question. They awakened wonder and reminded mortals of a greater world, a world larger than roads, walls, or fields, a sky filled with secrets beyond the horizon. And so the legend of the Skyborn Throne was born, a throne of cloud and light whispered into mortal hearts. When people spoke of it, their voices grew softer. Around the fire, children leaned in to hear the elders. "Watch the clouds," they said. They carry the voices of gods. Even when storms came, the whispers remained. They lived in the space between thunderclaps and in the quiet after rain. They glowed in the rainbow that bridged earth and heaven. The clouds spoke, and the world listened. Not everyone understood, but the whispers waited patiently. Perhaps that is the gift of the Skyborn Throne. Not that it can be possessed, but that it reminds us the sky is alive, and it has always had a voice. So next time you lift your eyes, pause and listen. In the shifting clouds, the ancient song still calls. A whisper gentle and eternal, leading you closer to Olympus. The whispers of the clouds led mortals to look higher still. If the sky held secrets, then there must be a place where heaven touched the earth. That place was believed to be Mount Olympus. Olympus was not just a mountain, but a living presence as old as time. Its slopes rose steep and high, crowned in snow and wreathed in mist. At dawn, it seemed to breathe, sending clouds down into valleys below. At dusk, its peak caught fire, glowing in the last light of the Sunday. To those who gazed from afar, Olympus seemed untouchable. Its summit vanished into veils of silver cloud, guarded by heaven itself. Villagers said it moved in subtle ways, with groans of ice and whispering pines. It was as if Olympus was aware of every prayer at its feet. Legends told of crystal chambers and rivers of light within its heart. Some swore that thunder was born in hidden caves and released by Zeus. But all agreed Olympus was a gateway between mortals and the divine. Those who climbed spoke of wonders that no words could hold. The higher they went, the more the air shimmered with unseen presence. Birds circled the summit but never perched, paying their silent respect. Streams sang melodies, carrying voices not their own down the slopes. On still days, climbers heard music drifting from far above. It was said the mountain itself chose who might come closer. Some felt a heaviness urging them back, others a lightness lifting them higher. Olympus was not to be conquered, only welcomed or refused. At sunrise, villagers faced the mountain with bread, fruit, and wine. At night they lit lanterns, their glow climbing toward the heavens. They honored not stone, but the unseen presence upon its heights. Elders told children of shining halls hidden in the clouds, pillars taller than forests, roofs that gleamed like starlight. From there, Zeus watched over all, seated upon the Skyborn Throne. Beside him, gods moved like constellations, shaping seasons and guiding wind. Olympus awakened not with noise, but with quiet presence. When storms rolled, people said the mountain stirred in its sleep. When rains nourished fields, they whispered of Olympus's blessing. Even silence was seen as a gift, as if the mountain listened. Travelers told of their first glimpse of Olympus rising from the earth. They spoke of beauty, yes, but more of its stillness and eternity. It felt alive in ways their words could never capture. They carried its legend far beyond the valleys of Greece. Always, Olympus was more than a mountain. It was a threshold, a place where earth reached upward and heaven bent down to meet it. Even today, at sunset, when fire crowns the peak and clouds drift silver, you may feel it. Olympus awakening again, eternal and patient. It does not shout, nor demand. It simply waits for wonder. For in its rising, mortals glimpsed the truth of their stories, that the gods were near, that the throne of the sky was real, that Olympus was the doorway where dreams touched the heavens. And so people never stopped watching the mountain awaken each dawn. For Olympus was not only stone, but the heart of the world, the breathing bridge between mortal life and divine eternity. The Skyborn Throne was not built by hand, nor carved from stone. It was born from the first breath of the heavens, woven from light itself. When the stars were young, the throne rose from Olympus like a gift. It gleamed in silver lightning, sharp and bright across the clouds. At dawn, it glowed golden, like the horizon spilling into day. At night, it mirrored the constellations, a bridge between gods and stars. The people said it was alive, breathing with the rhythm of the sky. When storms gathered, it blazed with sky fire, flooding the heavens in light. When skies were calm, it softened, glowing like a single enduring flame. It was never just a seat, it was a symbol of balance. The throne was not chained to earth, nor claimed by conquest. It floated above Olympus, untouchable, eternal, untarnished. When Zeus first approached, the throne welcomed him with light. It wrapped him in sky fire, and the gods saw its choice was clear. This was not a chair, it was the heart of the heavens. For mortals, the throne was more story than sight. Few glimpsed it, yet the legend spread through valleys and seas. Poets sang of it, artists painted it, dreamers carried it in their hearts. It became an idea that order could rise from chaos, that wisdom could shine brighter than lightning, that thunder itself could be a song if guided by justice. Some believed the throne changed shape to each beholder. To the wise, it seemed simple, calm, a seat of stone. To the proud, it blazed with fire, warning of their hunger. To the humble, it glowed softly, a promise whispered in wind. The throne bore no chains, no weapons, no blades. Its strength lay in stillness, its authority in radiance. It did not strike. It guided. It did not demand. It inspired, yet mystery clung to it, veiled in timeless wonder. Was it older than Zeus? Older than Olympus itself? Some said it was a relic of creation, born before the world. Others whispered it was not made, but reflected divine harmony. When lightning split the heavens, they said the throne spoke. When sunsets painted red and gold, the throne was resting. When stars crowded the night, they believed the throne listened. Its brilliance was wondrous, yet its message greater still. Mortals could never touch it, never climb to reach it, and yet they felt it. Each time, they lifted their gaze skyward. It ruled without fear. It commanded without force. It was not dominion, but harmony given form. And harmony, they said, was the true power of Zeus. So the throne remained, timeless, eternal, cradled by cloud, bathed in sunlight, veiled by stars, crowned in storms. A beacon above Olympus, untouched, yet ever near. A promise that wonder belongs to all who dream beneath the open sky. Not all messages from Olympus came through thunder or flame. Sometimes the divine spoke in gentler ways, through wind and through light. The people believed the gods never stayed silent above their thrones. They sent fragments of their will into the mortal world. Those fragments traveled on wings of air and rays of light. Wind was the first messenger, moving leaves, sails, hearts, and choices. A sudden breeze was a sign, a storm, a warning, a steady wind, a blessing. Sailors trusted the whispers of the wind more than their maps. They said the north wind guided or cautioned them on their journey. Farmers listened for breezes across their fields, as if to counsel. Light was the second messenger, a language all its own. When dawn's first rays struck, it was blessing renewed. When sunlight poured through temple doors, it was the gods stepping near. Even shadows, born of light, carried meaning and reminders. Twilight was not just an ending, but the promise of return. Legends said Zeus sent sparks of light as fragments of skyfire, not to burn, but to guide the wandering and the lost. A lone star blazing bright could be a lantern in divine hands. Wind and light were not only symbols, but carriers of voice. A breeze at the ear could whisper courage, patience, or hope. Light spoke by revealing paths, carvings, and hidden signs. A sudden shaft of sun could be enough to change a life. These messengers moved freely, unbound by temple or gate. They reached valleys, seas, and the simplest of homes. Unlike the throne, distant and untouchable, they felt close. Children laughed into the wind, sending joy to Olympus. Prayers beneath the morning sun rose upward in beams of gold. Wind and light were cherished, constant, and always near. No chain could hold them. No doubt could erase their presence. Even skeptics felt warmth on the face, or breeze on weary shoulders. People honored them with lanterns at dusk and flags at dawn. Not worship, but gratitude for invisible messengers in their lives. Their power was not in grandeur, but in simplicity. They did not roar or blind. They whispered and glowed. Through them, mortals learned to listen with deeper hearts. To the hush of trees in a midnight breeze. To the glow of sunlight stretching across dark waters. To the stories told by shadows and flame together. Every whisper of air, every gleam of light was Olympus near. The gods reached down, not in thunder, but in companionship. Gentle, enduring, woven into breath and day. The messengers taught that the divine dwelled everywhere, not just in temples, but in dawn, gust, and shimmer of sea. By listening, mortals walked closer with the gods. Even without touching the Skyborn throne, they felt its harmony. It was carried in the wind, reflected in the light, always with them, always near, eternal as the sky. When the sun sank behind Olympus, the indigo sky revealed another story. The stars appeared, not silent, but singing in a vast celestial choir. To mortals, the night was never empty but alive with hidden music. They called it the harmony of the spheres, woven by the heavens. Each star carried a pure note, eternal and unbroken. Together they formed melodies, guiding seasons, tides, and the pulse of life. No ear could hear it fully, yet hearts could feel its rhythm. Shepherds swore they heard faint patterns beneath the night sky. Sailors claimed constellations hummed steady as the waves. Poets said dreams were born from the quiet music of stars. The songs reminded mortals of order within chaos. Even in vastness, there was pattern. Even in darkness, melody. Constellations were not shapes alone, but verses of a cosmic hymn. Orion strode with bold notes, proud and bright. Lyra glimmered like a harp's delicate, clear strings. Cassiopeia arched like a refrain repeating endlessly. Every star story was also a listening to the sky. Children were told to be still and hear their lullaby above. Priests believed Zeus placed stars as instruments of balance. Storms muffled the music. Skies cleared and harmony returned. Meteors streaked as sudden notes, sparks from the Skyborn Throne. Brief bursts of melody sent to remind mortals of wonder. Travelers spoke of nights when stars pulsed together like breath. On those nights, people gathered and lifted voices in song. They answered the stars, joining a chorus without end. The sky was a teacher of beauty, constant yet ever-changing. Harmony wove difference into unity, each star vital to song. Mortals saw themselves reflected in this cosmic truth. A farmer, sailor, poet, each a note in the melody. No soul too small to join the vast heavenly chorus. Beneath the heavens, silence was never truly empty. It was a canvas for songs too great to be heard. In that silence, mortals felt belonging more than understanding. The songs of stars were never written, never captured. They lived in fleeting moments, fading like dreams at dawn. Echoes of eternity brushed softly against the mortal world. So people kept lifting their eyes to the night sky. They sought not only beauty, but companionship with heaven. For as long as stars burned, their songs endured. As long as mortals gazed upward, they heard them. In heartbeats, in dreams, in the quiet between breaths. The songs neither began nor ended with Olympus. They had always been, and always would be. Through them, the Skyborn Throne itself seemed to hum. It reminded all that creation was bound by music. Every soul, mortal or divine, belonged to the eternal choir. High above the mortal world, clouds wrapped the mountain peaks in silence. Zeus summoned a gathering, not for feast or celebration, but for council. The Skyborn Throne glowed, casting silver light across Olympus. One by one, the immortals arrived, their presence heavy as thunder. Hera entered first, sharp-eyed, carrying loyalty mixed with questions. Athena followed, calm yet fierce, wisdom rippling around her like a cloak. She carried scrolls, for reason was her truest weapon. Poseidon's steps rolled like waves, the scent of salt clinging to him. Apollo and Artemis came as twins of light and shadow. Apollo's golden lyre hummed softly, a promise of truth in song. Artemis moved like moonlight, sharp and silent as the hunt. Hermes arrived swiftly, sandals alight, smile hinting at mischief. Demeter carried the scent of fields, the weight of mortal hunger. Dionysus entered last, laughter soft but tinged with sorrow. They circled the Skyborn Throne, silence pressing heavily. Zeus rose, his voice like thunder rolling through marble halls. He spoke of storms not in skies, but in mortal hearts. Faith, once steady, was shifting, whispers of doubt rising. Mortals still built temples, yet prayers had become routine. What is a god without the gaze of mortals? Zeus asked. His words were not rage, but warning etched in thunder. Hera spoke first. They honor us in name, not in spirit. Athena unrolled her scrolls, showing restless cities seeking wisdom. They crave knowledge, she said, but forget who first taught them. Poseidon's voice rumbled. They sail farther, trusting their own strength. Apollo plucked a string. Their songs now praise mortal triumphs. Artemis spoke little, but her silence cut like an arrow. Hermes smiled faintly. Perhaps they see us as fading myths. Unease rippled through the council, murmurs like leaves in wind. Zeus raised a hand, steadying the restless immortals. This is not a call to wrath, but to remembrance. Mortals must recall who guards sky, sea, harvest, and flame. Demeter's voice trembled. They suffer, yet they forget our gifts. Dionysus lifted his cup, voice soft as wine's aftertaste. They turned to joy, not in honor, but to escape sorrow. Perhaps we must ask, have we listened to them? Silence fell, even Zeus pausing to consider the truth. Gods and mortals were bound, neither able to stand alone. The council ended not with answers, but with a shared resolve. Some would bless, some would warn, some would wait in silence. The Skyborn Throne glowed brighter as the immortals departed. Its silver light stretched beyond Olympus, touching mortal dreams. Some stirred, feeling the presence of gods in their sleep. Others turned away, chasing songs of their own making. The council left a question echoing between realms. What bond tied gods and mortals, and could it endure forever? High above the mortal world, clouds wrapped the mountain peaks in silence. Zeus summoned a gathering, not for feast or celebration, but for council. The Skyborn Throne glowed, casting silver light across Olympus. One by one, the immortals arrived, their presence heavy as thunder. Hera entered first, sharp-eyed, carrying loyalty mixed with questions. Athena followed, calm yet fierce, wisdom rippling around her like a cloak. She carried scrolls, for reason was her truest weapon. Poseidon's steps rolled like waves, the scent of salt clinging to him. Apollo and Artemis came as twins of light and shadow. Apollo's golden lyre hummed softly, a promise of truth in song. Artemis moved like moonlight, sharp and silent as the hunt. Hermes arrived swiftly, sandals alight, smile hinting at mischief. Demeter carried the scent of fields, the weight of mortal hunger. Dionysus entered last, laughter soft but tinged with sorrow. They circled the Skyborn Throne, silence pressing heavily. Zeus rose, his voice like thunder rolling through marble halls. He spoke of storms not in skies, but in mortal hearts. Faith, once steady, was shifting, whispers of doubt rising. Mortals still built temples, yet prayers had become routine. What is a god without the gaze of mortals? Zeus asked. His words were not rage, but warning etched in thunder. Hera spoke first. They honor us in name, not in spirit. Athena unrolled her scrolls, showing restless cities seeking wisdom. They crave knowledge, she said, but forget who first taught them. Poseidon's voice rumbled. They sail farther, trusting their own strength. Apollo plucked a string. Their songs now praise mortal triumphs. Artemis spoke little, but her silence cut like an arrow. Hermes smiled faintly. Perhaps they see us as fading myths. Unease rippled through the council, murmurs like leaves in wind. Zeus raised a hand, steadying the restless immortals. This is not a call to wrath, but to remembrance. Mortals must recall who guards sky, sea, harvest, and flame. Demeter's voice trembled. They suffer, yet they forget our gifts. Dionysus lifted his cup, voice soft as wine's aftertaste. They turned to joy, not in honor, but to escape sorrow. Perhaps we must ask, have we listened to them? Silence fell, even Zeus pausing to consider the truth. Gods and mortals were bound, neither able to stand alone. The council ended not with answers, but with a shared resolve. Some would bless, some would warn, some would wait in silence. The Skyborn Throne glowed brighter as the immortals departed. Its silver light stretched beyond Olympus, touching mortal dreams. Some stirred, feeling the presence of gods in their sleep. Others turned away, chasing songs of their own making. The council left a question echoing between realms. What bond tied gods and mortals, and could it endure forever? There are rivers mortals can see, silver streams cutting valleys and singing to stone. But one river lies beyond all others, unseen by mortal eyes, flowing not across land but eternity. The ancients called it the river beyond time, a current born of memory and destiny. Its waters are not of rain or snow, but of creation's first breath, older than sky itself. Even Zeus, lord of thunder, bows in silence before its endless current. For the river moves beyond Olympus, beyond the Skyborn Throne, beyond the reach of gods. It began when light first broke through chaos, carrying echoes of what has been and will be. Its waters shimmer like liquid starlight, reflecting not faces but visions unending. To gaze upon it is to see laughter of ancestors and choices of tomorrow. Few dare to approach, for its truth is heavy, a burden too vast to hold. Yet immortals gather there, Hermes listening for whispers of futures not yet spoken. Athena gazes with calm eyes, seeking wisdom for mortals she guards. Apollo hears its song, older than lyre, older than even light itself. And Zeus comes when storms weigh heavy, for the river reveals without flattery. He sees empires rise and fall, sparks upon the eternal wind. He sees mortals build temples, then forget their names in time's river. He sees his throne, sky-born and eternal, not feared, but surrounded with awe. The river teaches him power is fleeting, but memory of light endures. Once, a mortal dreamer crossed the veil and stood at its shining banks. He touched the current and saw the truth of all things flow before him. He saw ancestors with torches of fire, carrying warmth into the night. He saw children's children shaping stars into homes, lighting the dark. He saw himself, not small, not forgotten, but part of a vast chorus. When he awoke, memory faded, leaving only wonder and sacred awe. His people called him touched by gods, but he whispered only, "The river sings." And so it flows, hidden in myths, carried in dreams, remembered in prayers. Its voice echoes in the rustle of leaves and the crash of the sea. It hums in the rhythm of hearts, binding all life to its current. Though unseen, it touches all, reminding that time is no straight path. It is a river eternal, winding, endless, carrying gods and mortals alike. And beyond the horizon of ours, it flows still, shining in silence. The river beyond time, quiet and endless, binding the world together. At night, when mortals close their eyes, another world awakens in silence. The ancients called it the Veil of Dreams, a realm soft, unseen, and mysterious. It is a bridge between Olympus and earth, woven of memory and hope. In the veil, a child may run across the sky, chasing starlight. A poet may find forgotten words, placed upon their lips like gifts. Hypnos guides mortals to its edge. Gentle as night's first breath, Morpheus shapes visions, crafting dreams that carry the soul's secret language. Some dreams shine with joy and promise, glowing like lanterns in the dark. Others are shadowed, whispering puzzles and paths yet to be chosen. But all dreams carry meaning, a quiet message from the veil itself. Even Zeus once gazed into the veil, not as king, but as father. He saw mortals tending fires, weaving stories that outlived their own names. Athena placed wisdom within hearts, guiding seekers through their sleeping hours. Apollo sang through dreams, melodies echoing as lullabies into waking dawn. Hermes slipped swiftly through sleeping minds, planting sparks of daring and courage. Mortals, too, shape the veil with fears, longings, and endless desire. A shepherd dreams of green fields, and meadows blossom within the veil. A sailor dreams of storms, and waves rise high in its shifting sea. Once, a young woman dreamed she walked to the Skyborn Throne. The throne did not thunder, but shone quietly, waiting for her voice. She reached out her hand and felt the light of Olympus touch her. She awoke with no memory of detail, only the feeling of being seen. The veil is such a realm of half-remembered truths and eternal brushes. To some, it is fragile mist that fades at the first dawn light. To others, it feels more real than waking, a soul's true journey. Dreams are not to be feared. The gods remind all who listen. They are maps, messages, and mysteries sent from the silent divine. Through them, mortals learn they are never alone, even in slumber. For even in sleep, the Skyborn Throne watches and listens to hearts. The veil of dreams flows on, soft as a sigh, bright as a star. It binds gods and mortals with a language spoken without words. Each night, when the world grows still, the veil stirs once more. It calls to the wandering soul, guiding it across time and space. Here, in dreams, mortals and immortals draw closer than they know, not in temples nor in thrones, but in dreams beneath the sky. Even the smallest soul may touch the infinite through the veil of dreams. High above the mortal world, clouds weave mountains of white and shadow. There rests a crown not made by human hands, the crown of storms. It is not forged of gold or gems, but of lightning and wind. Each thunder arc is a jewel, each rushing gust a shining thread. The crown does not rest upon Zeus's brow at every moment. It appears when storms rise and thunder shakes the heavens apart. It is the sign of his will, his dominion over sky and storm. When it forms, the air itself trembles, and seas grow restless. Forests bow their branches low, and mortals lift their eyes in awe. The ancients said the crown was alive, carrying memory of all storms. It holds the rains that feed the earth and the thunder's mighty voice. It is not a weapon, but a promise born of balance eternal. For storms destroy, yet they also renew with rain and lightning spark. Zeus wears the crown to remind all that creation and destruction are bound. There are tales of mortals who glimpse the crown in their dreams. A farmer saw lightning bending like a diadem over his fields. A sailor saw storms curve into a circle of blazing fire. Each awoke with a memory of awe, balance, and belonging. The crown shines brightest when Zeus himself is most silent in thought. In those moments, he lets the storm crown speak its hymn of sky. The gods gather when it appears, listening to its eternal rhythm. Poseidon hears thunder rolling across the sea, deep as waves. Hera reads lightning arcs like prophecy written in the clouds. Hermes dances in the storm winds, carrying messages of the crown. For it is not only Zeus's, but Olympus itself made visible. Once, a poet stood upon a cliff during a furious storm. He raised his hands, not for safety, but to witness the divine. For a moment, clouds parted, and lightning circled like a crown. The poet saw the crown of storms and returned in silence. He sang not of terror, but of light, rain, and thunder's gift. His song spread, reminding mortals storms were not curses, but conversations. The crown remains a mystery, even to gods who watch its glow. It belongs to no single will, appearing only when balance is needed. Mortals still hear it in thunderclaps that shake the night sky. They see it in lightning that splits darkness, in rain that softens soil. The crown whispers with every storm. You are part of this. Born of the same forces, you share in the rhythm of the sky. The crown of storms endures, not as fear, but as circle of light. It reminds all that chaos carries beauty, and storms carry renewal. There are places where mortals whisper to gods, but only a few where gods whisper back. One such place is the oracle's chamber, carved into the living rock of Mount Parnassus. Beneath its floor lies a fissure where vapor older than time itself rises into the air. Those who breathe it drift between waking and dream, their voices not entirely their own. The oracle of Delphi was no ordinary woman, but the vessel of Apollo's voice. Through her, the divine flame spoke in riddles, layered truths that unfolded with time. But once, she spoke a secret unlike any other, carried through the temple like a tremor. She spoke of a throne not carved from stone, nor forged of iron, but born of the sky. Priests trembled at her words and wrote them on tablets, yet they could not grasp their depth. The oracle said the Skyborn Throne was not mere power, but harmony itself. It was the meeting place of mortal and divine, where storms, stars, and rivers converged. It was the balance of the cosmos, a circle unbroken, eternal in its rhythm. Some feared her prophecy was dangerous, shaking the very foundations of Olympus. Others clung to it as hope, a reminder that even gods must honor order. Travelers came from distant lands, Drawn to her words like moths to flame, a warrior asked if his battles were blessed. Heavy with doubt in his heart, the oracle told him to lay down his sword and listen to the rain. He realized his strength was not in war, but in peace that followed storms. A queen asked if her reign would endure, burdened with fear for her people. The oracle spoke of a great storm, not of ruin, but of renewal. When floods came, the queen guided her people to higher ground, and they thrived. Each prophecy echoed the pulse of the Skyborn throne, veiled yet eternal. The gods themselves listened, hearing Zeus's hand in her visions and riddles. Apollo guided her light. Athena drew wisdom. Hera wondered what truths lay hidden, but the oracle guarded her greatest secret. Whispered once in the stillness of night, she said the throne was not only Zeus's, but for all who honored balance. Wind, fire, earth, and water each had its rightful place within the circle. Mortals who lived in harmony with these forces were closer to the throne than they knew. Her secret was not carved in stone, nor written on scrolls to be kept. It lived only in her breath and in the hearts of those who listened. Perhaps that is why her words endure, unbroken across time and memory. The Skyborn throne is not a crown to seize, nor a kingdom to conquer. It is a truth to recognize, hidden in the rhythm of the world, in storms that cleanse the air, in rivers that never cease to flow, in stars that guide the lost. There too the throne quietly resides. And deep within Mount Parnassus, where vapors still rise from the earth, some say her voice can still be heard, carrying her secret through the silence. High above the clouds lies the hidden path to the Skyborn throne. It is not carved into stone nor marked by mortal hands, but revealed only to those ready. The path begins in silence, deeper than rivers, stiller than wind. Travelers leave their fears behind, for this ascent is of spirit, not strength. The journey is not measured in distance, but in trials of the soul. Each step reveals a vision. Each breath reminds of what binds the world. The first vision is of storm and fire, lightning dancing across the heavens. Power creates and destroys. To move forward, one must embrace both. The second vision is of river and sea, endless water guiding and pulling. Time flows forward, yet within its current lies the promise of renewal. The third vision is of stars, a sky unfolding stories older than memory. Every life is part of a greater pattern, no step taken alone. The air grows lighter as the world's weight slowly falls away. A final veil appears, woven from dawn and dusk, beginning and ending. To pass through, the traveler must release anger, pride, fear, and desire. Only with an open heart can the final step be taken. The throne then appears, not of stone or gold, but of cloud and flame. Lightning weaves its crown, winds rise to form its seat eternal. The Skyborn throne belongs to none alone. It is balance itself. It is the meeting place of heaven and earth, of silence and song. Here Zeus sits when harmony must be restored, calm yet mighty. The throne does not roar. It hums, the rhythm of the cosmos. The traveler stands, not kneeling, for the throne seeks not worship. It asks only recognition. Storms are not curses, but part of life. Rivers do not end. Stars are not mere fire, but guiding light. Life and death, creation and ruin, threads woven in one tapestry. Some say no mortal has reached the throne. Others whisper of souls who have. They find it in dreams, in visions, in moments of stillness under sky. The ascent is not only upward, it is also inward, within the soul. To climb is to awaken, to see the world as one whole. The final ascent continues always, for every heart that listens. It is found in silence after thunder, in calm after rain. It is found in stars that guide the lost, whispering of belonging. The Skyborn throne waits, eternal, not as a prize, but as truth. This is not the end, but the beginning of understanding.